I mean, I hate to be the first one to publicly roast or
do you want me to do it? You want me to do it?
No,
I'll do it.
I do want to do it. I do
What's
want
up?
to do it. No, I do want to do it because I do have actual critiques.
Daniel's
This
all
is
like,
not a 10. This isn't a 10 form. It's not a 10.
Two-piece combo where we review both music and poetry on this live stream. We're about to get into Amanda Gorman's Biden's inauguration poem. And yo, this was hot. This is super hot. But we're going to see how it fares in the Pen Clique slam circle. So let's get it.
Mr.
Off rip, before we do that, just like, let's just say, of course, everyone knows, outfit on 1,000%.
Yeah.
Mr.
Extra.
President, Dr. Biden, Madam Vice President, Mr. Emhoff, Americans, and the world.
The roll call.
When
and the
day
world.
comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade?
And the never-ending shade. Do you think she's saying that colloquially, like shade, or is like double entendre flow for the fucking for the generations shit? You know what I'm saying?
Bro, and wasted right over the boomers' heads. You feel me?
Hell yeah! So she could say that. You know what I'm saying?
When
Hell
day
yeah.
comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is.
Yes. We can see that wordplay coming a mile away because, we're in the, that's our mind is set to that, but fire for the people at home, you know what I'm saying?
And yet the dawn is hours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished,
Let's bring that back. Let's bring that back.
That doesn't mean we are striving to. Skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man.
Alliteration game.
Not
Let's
to
go.
what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first. We must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none.
Hold up. Let me just say that she's doing a lot of hand holding for the audience who aren't in tune to listen to this kind of wordplay.
Yeah,
like a lot like playing with direction, like to the side, what's in front of us, what's behind us. Like, I love how she's making wordplay accessible to the national audience. This is
and like even her rhyming schemes and all of her poetic devices have been super effective, but super easy to understand and follow. Like what we just stopped at, the harm and arm jump, right? Like she's almost guiding. Dude, she's doing what poets do. She's telling the whole fucking truth and disguising it with poetry. And at the end of this 5 minutes, the whole country's smarter for having listened to her.
So we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. Close the divide because we know to put our future first. We must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That we'll forever be tied together, victorious. Not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division.
Okay.
Scripture tells us to envision that.
I kind of forgot about this poem, but I was really worried that she would do a defeat bar, like defeat and defeat. I was so scared, yeah. But I'm glad she didn't. Woo. All right, let's go.
No defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree. And
also, big ups to her, all her hand movement, you know what I'm saying? Like, them poetry hands, feel me? Is like, she's really trying to have people visualize with her to help explain the wordplay, just in case, like, you know, they're not catching it. So, yo, big ups, Amanda.
No one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it. Because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So, while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens, but one thing is certain.
Our blunders become their burdens. Am I missing some wordplay there? It's like blunders. All right. Whatever.
Our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens, but one thing is certain. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. With every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the West. We will rise from the wind-swept Northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
Fire.
Yeah. Fire.
Beautiful.
Yo, so
this is the youngest inaugural poet in history, right?
Hell yeah, it is. All right, so on the two-piece, we of course gotta review and give our thoughts and give them a slam score. So, Daniel, you want to do the honors?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be the first one to publicly roast or
do you want me to do it? You want me to do it?
No,
I'll do it.
I do want to do it. I do want to do it. No, I do want to do it because I do have actual critiques.
Daniel's all like,
this isn't a 10 form. not a 10. This is a 9.9 for me. Because
9.9?
Yeah. It's a 9.9. I'm not gonna bury the lead. This is a 9.9. This is almost perfect so I'm gonna say this as a means and as a introduction to poetry and all of that. It's incredibly effective. It's just a tiny bit too long. There's a little bit in the middle there where she stumbles, right, and then like right in that pocket there, I feel like even her performance was showing that she had lost the performance cues a little bit, and she was just trying to regain the composure for the landing. So cut that part. You know what I'm saying? Cut that little bit.
She wrote that during the Capitol Hill rush, which was only a couple weeks ago. And she clearly didn't. She's not off page. She had like the text in front of her. So to read. Like in front of the world, that's a hell of pressure.
No, I feel you.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. I'm just saying, like, there's probably 12 seconds of this that could be cut out, but it's kind of like, what 12 seconds? And then it's a whole thing, right? As if this, because that's the crazy thing. This is so close to first time this was on paper. That she did this in front of everybody in the world. Like, that's insanity. That's crazy. The pen game's incredible. Her pen game is, and then her confidence, her
Pen Clique colors. Hell yes, you know who it is.
Yeah, and telling the truth, doing again what poets do, which is poetry has to tell the truth. That's just all it can do, right? Like, that's the only way it's effective. That's the only way anybody cares about it. And she found a way to educate people about her feelings, right? And what her community is going through. Educate people about their country. Educate people about this time. This is a timeless piece. You know what I'm saying? This is something that in 10 years, whenever young children ask me what was 2020 like, I will show them this piece. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like that. This is a piece of history that is important and a piece of art that is important. And shouts out to Homegirl. Beautiful, just crazy. Like, I can't even believe that this happened. Like, what a beautiful thing, what a unifying thing, what a reminder of the power of poetry. And then to write something that's effective and still be a poem, that's undeniably a poem. 9.9 all day, every day.
All right, real quick, we're gonna go to the chat. Also, you on your keyboard, let us know what you think. Put it in the comments, put it in the chat. Give us a thumbs up if you like what we're doing right here. Being the ones who are brave enough to give, young Amanda Gorman like a slam score. Because, this is hard to do because this is a dope inspirational piece. Benny says this has to be 10, 100%, which it wasn't because Daniel gave him a 9.9. Abas gave her an 8.5, I'd say. I said, please explain to yourself. Shelly in the chat says it's a 9 out of 10 for me. Everyone, please explain your scores in the comments in the chat, please, because I am very curious. Because what I'm about to say, you know what I'm saying? All right, so I watched this once or twice, and I've been getting hella like every poet, every poet right now. Like, we've all been getting DMs about her. Everybody that asked me about who's not into the poetry shit, who asked me about what I think about her shit, I say that it's a phenomenal feature piece, but not a great slam piece. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair, yeah.
Daniel,
fair.
You understand that, right? Chat, everyone in the chat is pretty much a poet, I believe, and y'all understand what I'm saying. In that, first of all, this is over 3 minutes, so of course you get DQ'd, right? But aside from that, let's say we're doing 6-minute joints, and that's kind of the problem with slam, right? It's chess masters playing in front of other chess masters. It's like, if you do some basic shit, nobody's impressed. But Amanda Gorman has the very tough challenge of making poetry palatable for, middle America and shit, you know what I mean? So if we want slam to be on a national scale level, she is doing exactly what she needs to be doing to be getting a 10 from someone who's never seen a slam performance before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's completely fair.
But to people who are, Right. But to people who are already, hip to the game, it's like to people who are already in tune and are looking for that really hard shit to do. It's like, for me, when I judge a slam piece, it's like, I ask them, are they doing something that I can't do? If the answer is yes, that's fucking impressive. It's like, if you're doing something that like, I could do that shit, then like, it's not as impressive, right? Amanda's doing a lot of things that I can't do, so I'm impressed by that. But at the same time, I'm still looking for those things that I like. I'm looking for the extra haymaker, the extra wordplay. And that all being said, I love this piece because it's so accessible. I love this piece because the overall narrative and her wordplay is like, it's very subtle, but it is there, and she's doing everything in her power to make it palatable to those who aren't attuned to poetry. And that's so hard to do. And she did it. You know what I'm saying? So that rates high, but at the same time, missing that haymaker, like I said. So if I'm going to judge, I got to be consistent. So I would give her 9.3. 9.3. Super solid piece. Phenomenal feature piece. But in a slam, when you're looking for that knockout joint in front of other people who are already accustomed and acquainted to hearing wordplay and especially alliteration. Like she had like 2 alliteration runs. She had like a B run, she had a K run. So yeah. All right, let's check in with the chat, because please, community, don't cancel me, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we both love her piece. We gave her high 9s, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is slam. We are talking about slam, you know what I'm saying? The competition joint. We're not talking about, on some international inaugural shit, you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about like the overall effect and how it made us feel, because we're all on our feels about it. We're talking about it, within the competition aspect, and that's a very specific thing. In the chat, we say, Chili Bean, it's a 9 out of 10 for me. It's a great poem, but it's easy to get lost in her delivery. Debatable.
Fair.
I think she did very well to with her delivery, but I could see that like, because she doesn't have it memorized and off page, it might not have been as smooth, you know what I'm saying? So I can see that. Obs, all right, this is the man who gave her an 8 something. Ob says, it's an art thing for me. As a creative, it was good! Exclamation point. Delivery was, writing was there, truth telling was there. Slam wise though, I have heard pieces that have a better tone, delivery, etc. Yeah, that's pretty much what we were saying as well. So we'll see.
Performance.
Benny Alexander says, I felt it, made me cry first time hearing. If a poet can bring me to tears and deliver on that level, fuck, deserves a 10 from me. So shout out to Benny with a 10.
Bro, if that was my scale, bro, you know how often poetry makes me cry? Like every day. Bro, that is not a strict enough criteria in my life for 10.
Every day?
You feel me?
So that box of tissues by your laptop, so that's for poetry. That's what we're going to say.
For everything, bro. But yeah, poetry especially, you know what I'm saying? But for all the things. I'm a crier, Benny, so.
For sure.
That's a weak scale.
Benny said, all right, so Op says, but again, the 10 is different. She was writing with the intent to deliver a message, not necessarily to be impressive. Facts. All right, so that brings us to express versus impress, where in a slam, you're trying to impress, right? You're trying to score that 10. But in open mic or in feature, that's your freedom to express. And this is primarily to express, not necessarily to impress. So, big ups to Obs for that, because that is 100% facts. Yeah.
Damn, son, where'd you find
oration
this?
versus like performance. You know what I'm saying?
Benny says, fair though, Kuya. Great point. Feature piece for sure. Hell yeah. Obs says, she was spitting for the masses, not spoken word cats. Yeah, or competition. But all right, so here's the thing. Yes, she was spitting for the masses, not for people who are already hip. But if we want poetry to be an internationally mainstream thing, then we're gonna have to figure out avenues and ways of writing and ways of performing to appeal to the general masses, right? Like, you can't just have like fucking like. There's a reason why Brazilian jiu-jitsu only competitions get less views than, you know, like mixed martial arts, your UFC shit, where people get knocked out, because it has more things that can show everybody, as opposed to super highly technical kind of things. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's like, so in this manner, if we want to think on a larger scale, like Amanda Gorman is spitting with some 200 IQ shit of like, yo. Yeah. To bring poetry to the masses and to have memes made about her, you know, like, and to have like all these tribute art and fan art made about this one poet. When was the last time you saw a poet nationally go viral and fucking have like, you know, fan art made about her within a 24-hour series and it's flooding your timeline? You know what I'm saying? Amanda Gorman did that, and she did it because her poetry was like that easily digestible. So
yeah, and again, it's the truth. Yeah. It's the truth. It's expressive. It's real poetry, and everybody got that. You know what I'm saying? Little like thanks. Midwest house, like people in the Midwest that have never heard a poem in their whole life, that spoke to them. You feel me? And that's the point.
Edmund Zabrano says, 9 out of 10. It's always great to see poets make it to this type of caliber. Just for me, I'm into aggressive styles due to battle rap. Same, sir. But I was waiting for a haymaker, something that I was waiting for to make. Me saying, ooh, I think on paper, this is a great poem to read. A bit long, of course, but nonetheless an amazing piece for the specific audience in attendance. Facts. All right, guys. Benny says, laugh my ass off at Daniel with the cry emojis, for sure. All right, everyone. So high scores to Amanda Gorman, but at the same time, yo, poets, we knew that this wasn't gonna be a 10 for slam. But at the same time, it's like we knew that that wasn't the point. The points are not the point. The point is the poetry, of course. So big ups Amanda Gorman. Beautiful piece. That's gonna be a joint that like kids are gonna recite in school moving forward.